recording. And we are streaming live. Welcome to episode 29 of the RINO Podcast. Patreon.com/RINOPod. Patreon.com/RINOPod. We just recorded a very good episode on why I can't stand libertarians. So head on over to Patreon. Only $1 a month for that. If you're a conservative and on the right, you really need to start paying attention to that. So subscribe and start your journey there. Caitlin, you staying dry?
I'm trying.
It's coming down out there.
It's like off and on. So you're more inland than I am. I'm like right on the coast. And so it's like, it's off and on right now. We'll see. I can't wait to clean the pool.
In the midst of Hurricane Henri, that's the correct pronunciation. But you know what? Let's get it started. Let's get everything started with this. Okay? We're going to... Back in the day, we used to have The Daily Show, and they would say, and now for your moment of Zen. That is Senator Chuck Schumer dancing the day away with a mask on with an unmasked Stephen Colbert. And perhaps the douchiest moment you'll see in 2021. While he should be doing his job, he's buddying up to a unfunny sycophant who has become unfunnier by the minute, Stephen Colbert, who is just a suck ass for the Democratic Party now. And it is pathetic. It is pathetic to watch these, I don't know, entertainers. They're not even comedians anymore. They just puke back up Democratic talking points.
Yeah. And Schumer sends them to him. Like, it is very well known that he sends the Democratic talking points to Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert, and they're just not funny. Like, Bill Maher is still funny.
Occasionally. There's a difference. There's a difference between, like, the Bill Maher audience will be like, Bill Maher will deliver a joke, and if they laugh, then yes, he's obviously funny. If they applaud, he's looking for applause. You know, it's like it's fan service. It's fan service, and they just if you're watching The View, like, I don't know why the fuck you'd watch The View, but if you're watching The View, there's a lot of that. Like, they say something and they think it's supposed to be funny. It's like fake edgy, and they're looking for a laugh, but really they just get applause. That has to, like, I hope their comedic entertainer heart just breaks in half. I hope it's a stabbing little blade into their existence when they get applause. And Bill Maher hates that. He hates when the audience claps instead of laughs at one of his jokes, because he knows then he just like is doing fan service. But that was Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer dancing with Stephen Colbert while we have 10 to 15,000 Americans trapped behind Taliban lines because Joe Biden is a fucking idiot. Now, Joe Biden's always been an idiot, Caitlin.
Yeah, he's always been a massive idiot. He's a scoundrel. I mean, we've made that clear on this podcast. We've talked about how he's been awful on foreign policy on this podcast. This is not the first go around with Joe Biden and foreign policy, but now it's deadly. And now it's because of his incompetence. And man,
we'll be one of the many voices out there that's saying he is senile. We've been saying he has dementia since the election when the media was covering for him, and that those choruses should continue. But I don't know that if he was fully cognitive and had all of his functions, that the decision would have been any different. He wanted this to get done. I think, his brain got through all this. It's like, no, we're out.
a campaign issue for him. It has been a campaign issue for him since 2012. I mean, or even 2008, I would say. They ran on withdrawal in Iraq and Afghanistan in 2008 to be super different from John McCain. I mean, it has always been a political issue for Dems, even if it seemed like they were suddenly super supportive of liberal democracy and open to military defense thing or subjects or anything like that, like LBJ back in the 60s. But no, they're clearly not. This has been horrific to watch, Jeff. I mean, this week I've been, on a personal note, really sad to see it. On a rational note, it doesn't surprise me that Joe Biden has no idea what the fuck he's doing. And it's either you try to look for a rational explanation. The first explanation is that he's an idiot. The second explanation is that something is wrong. And I'm starting to lean into the camp of something is wrong with the president. The fact that we had to bully him into staying at the White House this week seems like something is up to me.
Something is up. Something is profoundly up with him. And, there are people, this has been covered as well, but also people are now given permission to start talking about it.
Right.
And there are still individuals, and I want to show this to the audience here. This is, I got into it with, I didn't even get into it. It was a one-off. Dan Kennedy, professor of journalism at Northeastern University and formerly of Beat the Press. Oh, too bad, guys. August 20th, 2 days ago. Sorry, go ahead.
The press was beaten.
The press was beaten. Yes, they were. Dan Kennedy on August 20th. I know the right is just gaslighting by claiming Biden has dementia, but I can't even see what they're picking up on. He's the same old bumbling Joe. If anything, he seems more coherent than he did when he was younger. Okay. I mean, I don't know how far detached you have to be from reality to watch this man's cognitive decline in real time while he's running the country. It was obvious during the campaign to anybody paying attention. Other people decided to not pay attention, namely people like Dan. Maybe it's a bit of self-reflection that they're boomers and they don't want to admit to their own humanity. There's an aspect, but he is not well. There's a mountain of evidence that he is not well. And here's the problem, Caitlin. I think we've sort of bandied this about. I don't know that invoking the 25th Amendment is a good idea because we'll get Kamala Harris as president. And that, you're not dealing with anybody with cognitive decline there. You're just dealing with somebody who's massively incompetent and has really bad ideas. I think what you're dealing with there, though, is like, let's say there is something wrong with Biden. I mean, clearly his own incompetence caused this. So like, look, we need to cement the fact that there is something up there. I'm as of this minute, I am of the mind that holding together Joe Biden with bubblegum and scotch tape and pumping him full of whatever medicine and vitamins they need to keep him going is greater than a Kamala Harris presidency. And that's really the only choice we have at this point. And I'm open to a counter argument. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I don't agree, because I think Kamala is everything that they want in a president and that Joe Biden was just a placeholder. And so now that he has failed in his presidency, it's time for them to move him along or do whatever they need to do and put her in place, because that is what they wanted. And so we need to see what your type of leadership is like. And trust me, We know that Kamala supported Joe Biden's decision, even though in every single picture she had taken this week, she looked like she was a sorry puppy in the corner. But you know what? You should be able to be an adult and stand there and be president of the United States and vice president of the United States and handle this. I mean, I don't, it's hard for me, Jeff, because I have to conceptualize the fact that this is such a debacle. I have a lot of thoughts in my mind. I think that they could 25th him and I'd be fine with it. I think that impeachment is on the table for this.
What do you mean? I mean, not technically. They can't do anything. We don't run the House. I mean, are you talking about if he makes it to 2022?
Yeah, it's stable in 2020.
I don't think. I mean, they have kept him hidden for days on end. He came out for that one speech, walked away, didn't take any questions for about 20 minutes. Nobody's seeing this guy. He's not around. I think there's stuff going on, and they're trying to. Sorry, go ahead.
I think that we are going to find out a lot about the decisions made in the last few months on this, and it's not going to play well for the Biden administration. We already know that the State Department and the Defense Department and the Pentagon, plus the Joint Chief of Staff, were giving Biden information that he knew about. And still went forward with his decision anyway, with the risk assessment that he left Americans behind. He knew that he was doing that. He admitted to it. And then the fallout, other than that, I think we're talking in dear election of duty type of deal. And I don't know. I mean, I think that he deserves to be impeached right now. The Dems control the Senate and the House, so the odds are not going to happen. It seems that Nancy Pelosi doesn't have a lucid grasp on reality concerning what happened in Afghanistan, considering she said, and this was reported by a Republican representative, Kat McCamick, everything looks like it's going good. Everyone just needs to get to the airport. I mean,
that's such an that's a let them eat cake moment right there. She's so detached. Oh God.
I mean, we knew that she was detached, right? Like, yeah. We knew that COVID, but this is like true detachment from reality.
So let's game this out, because the lapdogs at CNN and the mainstream media, and including, it'll filter down to the Boston Globe, you're going to start seeing, do we have to do something? Do we have to invoke the 25th Amendment? They're going to start floating that stuff out there. They've already sort of broached it and saying, and we'll play this clip. You know what? I'll play this clip.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me know if you can. I'll play it so you can hear it. Hang on. I need a producer. Okay, here we go. All right.
Starting this week on Capitol Hill about what exactly was going on at the State Department, for example. So right now things are caught in a huge bureaucracy, but you have to question, is the president insulated, isolated? On Friday, it was just almost bizarre. What he was saying just did not match the reality of what some of his other advisors were saying. What I was really struck by was the question, and you were in the room, Caitlin, when he was asked about allies, essentially suggesting that allies are not upset at the U.S. or embittered by this, and it's just not the case. So I think this will be a very defining moment in the Biden presidency about what we learn of him as president. But it seems to me he's a bit insulated or isolated inside the White House.
And as soon as
okay, that
it's hard for me. It's hard for me to conceptualize him being isolated, because he's going to need a lot of help, right? Like, people are helping him along. He's not isolated. He made this decision, and it's devoid of reality. He's not there, and so what they're trying to do is band-aid a lot of things up.
I don't know. I think this is leading to something. I think they knew this all along, and they're sort of just gaming out the plan a little bit more. They're like, CNN is not allowed to say these things unless somebody has given the green light to it. They're not allowed to criticize the president in this severe a way unless they've been told they should start doing so. So let's think about this, right? They 25th them, and Kamala Harris is sworn in as president. Now, because of her demographic makeup, they're going to now cover for her like they did for Obama, right? And like they did for Biden during the election. But they're done. They're done with Biden. They've gotten everything they're ever going to get out of Biden right now. It's over. So now it's on to the new thing. So it's Kamala.
But now, the difference is that Obama was more competent than Kamala.
Yes.
Kamala makes
yes.
it look like genius.
Right. But that's beside the point, because what can happen, well, when she is the president, she has two basic choices. She'll probably be president at a time when the Republicans take back the House and probably the Senate. So she won't be able to do much. So she has a choice. She can be her awful self and tack further to the left and drum up support from a progressive base. That's a mistake. Or she can tack to the center, improve her chances for re-election, and do essentially nothing except,
But she would be coming into the presidency with a kind of record on disapproval ratings as VP.
Yeah,
so
but she hasn't done anything. I look, the media is going to prop her up as the diverse face of America and finally a woman in office, right? That's going to be it, and that'll be it for 3 solid years. I mean, maybe 2.5 if Biden goes further, but that'll be it. That's I feel like
she's disapproval rating even with the media fawning over her. I don't know. So that's the thing. So if Biden stays, let's say Biden stays, he's more electorally dangerous than Kamala is.
At this point after this, no.
I'd have to see state polling I'd have to see state polling in Arizona, and I'd have to see state polling in Michigan and Pennsylvania in order to totally say that he's not an electoral powerhouse going into 2024. That's the thing. I'd have to have true disapproval ratings that are less than 50 in order to say that. But with that let's say that's the case though, going into 2024. Okay. Let's say Trump runs again. That would be a stupid decision, but it could happen. Or if it's DeSantis, I think DeSantis could beat Biden handily. But
DeSantis. But here is where it would get tricky. You have a President Harris running for election, not re-election. And for the past 2 years, for 2022, 2023, and most of 2024, she does nothing except tinker around the edges, does nothing progressive, waits for the economy to get back on track, just stabilizes everything, and does nothing but work on her image and become more likable. With full media, I know it's a heavy lift. It's a heavy lift. I'm not saying it's something that can happen easily, but I think that's a formidable opponent. That's a formidable opponent for DeSantis or whomever. But right now we're saying DeSantis.
I don't think so. So I think that she would be the weaker candidate, because her disapproval will only get lower. She's not going to have a around the flag moment. Not that people so the thing is the media might prop her up, but trust in the media keeps going down, right? So I don't see a point where even the media fawning is going to help her approval rating.
The media propped up and protected Biden to get him elected last year.
But Biden had an approval rating that was above water. Kamala doesn't.
That I think that can change as the usual suspects do what they're supposed to do and follow the Democratic Party's talking line. I mean, they will just do endless Jimmy Kimmel appearances and Jimmy Fallon appearances and cute little videos. I mean, look, here's the thing. the sequel's never as good as the original. Like what they're doing with that, for instance, that ridiculously flamboyant guy with the crazy hair and the long fingernails who was very effeminate and Jen Psaki's, I don't know, influencer to get people vaccinated. Was that what it was supposed to be for? Like, they're going to go down that path. So I'm not confident that they're going to do what they should do to beat a Republican. I think they'll probably go in the opposite direction. Probably. And then it'll be easier. It'll be easier to beat them in 2024. But I'm saying I'll give them the template of how to win in 2024 if you want Kamala Harris to be elected president. 25th them, don't do anything progressive, tinker around the edges, work on her image, coach her up better to be more likable, and have your mainstream media allies just do whatever they're supposed to do, whatever you tell them to do, and you got a formidable candidate. I know that probably won't happen. I know I don't want that to happen. But I'm saying I think if Republicans say, oh no, just Kamala's so awful, and they'll protect her. The stupid gaffes will never make it to 80, 90% of the public. She'll give robotic answers to this. She'll say, for the Afghanistan debacle, look, behind the scenes, I told President Biden that we needed a little bit of a force there, a better thing. She could lie out her ass, and it won't matter. Like, I'm telling you, like, the Biden administration is not going to be treated as the Biden-Harris administration any longer. And notice how that's changed from the campaign, the language.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that now. I haven't seen anybody point that out in the media. Oh, Biden would always say it's the Biden-Harris administration. Okay. He takes over. They do all these things about infrastructure and this and that. Biden-Harris administration. Now, Afghanistan, it's the Biden administration. It's not the Biden-Harris administration anymore. Look, I don't want to be negative, but I want to be realistic. And she would have the bully pulpit. She'd be the president, mainstream media, ton of money, protection from any of her gaffes, and the ability to detach herself from Joe. We'll see. All right. Any more on our wonderful, incompetent president?
I just think he's deplorable. I think that this is despicable. I think him turning his back on Americans and trying to pretend like this is fine is deplorable.
Yeah.
I've been really hitting at Republicans who voted for Biden. I think you deserve criticism.
Mm-hmm.
You knew that he was awful, and yet you voted for him anyway, or you decided to buy the lie, and you still deserve criticism because you're stupid.
Yeah, I was...
I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for that position. I'm not sorry for believing it. Like, there you go.
I was bothered by when he said, when we were talking about it, and he's like, here, I'm just going to play the clip. Hang on. Let me do this. I was bothered by this the most, and I'm pulling it up on the fly, Caitlin. Let me share sound with you. Let's do this.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people pack into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What did you think when you first saw those pictures? But we've all seen.
It was a lifetime ago, Caitlin. It was 4 or 5 fucking days ago. How dare you bring that up?
I mean,
they've made such progress by then. I mean,
yeah, I mean, they have, we probably for security reasons can't know the amount of Americans that are in Afghanistan right now, and that's fine. But for the president of the United States to go and talk to literally the former comms director of the Clinton administration, he couldn't even help him out in this interview. It's not great. Like,
what really bothered me about that one, beyond his senility, beyond his incompetence, which is well documented and well covered by folks on the right, that one he broke through his senility there. He broke through his incompetence. That one, he just doesn't fucking care. He doesn't fucking care. That is like, what are you why are you giving me a hard time? Why are you giving me a hard? It was 4 or 5 days ago. Like, what? Like, he just like, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, we're out of there. I don't care about the consequences. I don't care that what you're bringing about Afghans falling from the sky because I was too stupid to secure the airport and the airfield. Like, doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So when you've often said he's a scoundrel. He is and always has been a scoundrel, and this is coming through. He's always been like a scumbag. He was just protected by the usual suspects for so long. That's some gross shit right there. All right. Moving on to some other gross shit. This from Fox News, faux news, man. Ayanna Pressley, cancel rent advocate, discloses thousands of dollars in rental income. I'm going to skip to the good part here that I liked here. Presley's 2020 financial disclosure filed on Friday discloses between $5,000 and $15,000 in rental income from a Boston property in her husband's name. The property was converted into a multifamily apartment after it was purchased, according to Presley's disclosure. Now, here's the good stuff. Presley's office did not immediately return Fox News' request for comment on whether she and her husband canceled rent for their tenants at any point in 2020. She disclosed the same range of rental income between $5,000 and $15,000 in 2020 as she did in 2019 before the pandemic. So that tells you something.
Democrats would have no standards if they weren't double standards. Am I right?
It's just so astounding how corrupt and bankrupt of just ideas and principles these people are.
I'm sorry, Ayanna. Okay, I'm sorry, Ayanna. This rental justice just doesn't, your lack of empathy for rental justice just doesn't sit well with me.
She's a joke. And what's great is she was treated so seriously when she first got elected, and she was a voice of empowerment, and she just spits out her little, peanut butter justice and jelly equity talking points, and all and then just the usual word salad of
you really failed the equity of these renters, right? Yeah. Like I mean, I'm just gonna throw out all the buzzwords, right? So like rental justice, equity, equality, like you're so full of shit.
She is, and it's just what's good about now, as opposed to maybe a year or two ago, is they regurgitate these phrases over and over and over again, and eventually only the stupid people still believe them, and everybody else goes, yeah, I've heard this before, what does that mean? And then they can't define it. Like Ibram Kendi trying to define racism, like just goes in some circular dizzying array of again, word salad that makes no sense.
Word salad, but pay me $25,000 and I'll come talk to you.
Oh God, that's the I'm here. You know what it gets down to for me, Caitlin, with these people, that is this. I expect them to be dishonest. I expect them to not be particularly bright. I expect all that. I don't even. I try to extricate the word unbelievable from my vocabulary, and I try to get rid of the phrase I don't understand from my vocabulary, because I do understand. I do believe it. They're that bad. But what it comes down to is I'm kind of jealous. Jealous. We have, on our side, we have to present logic and fact and reason and adhere to people's better nature. They just get to say whatever the fuck they want, and there's no consequences. They can lie till the day is long, and there's no consequences. They can be wrong over and over and over again, and there's no consequences. And it's just... it's frustrating to me. If you're a Republican in a liberal area, you have to be so dance on eggshells over and over and over again and be so cognizant of everybody's feelings. I think I have to think, I pray that there is some population of people that is just so sick of it. And if somebody just comes out there and just is honest about what is going on and how dishonest they are, that they'd win. But I'm not optimistic about that, especially around here. Is they want to believe it. They want to believe the bullshit because the bullshit gives them it fills an empty void inside of themselves for the time being. It's so frustrating. Right? I am jealous. I really am jealous. They get away with this stuff. It's as I threw the pen behind me.
So the interesting thing is like, Jeff, when I moved up here, like being a Democrat, like, and all that stuff, it's so ingrained into like how you grow up. You just register Democrat, like voting style, or you like are an independent who votes Dem. In Kentucky, like it's interesting because in Kentucky, everyone was Democrat, now are Republican. So like that happened over the last 50 years. So it's not like Republicans have always had like a hard, stable like footing in Kentucky. So yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Like everyone here just grows up voting Democrat. Like it's something that they do in Kentucky. Like my mom is always right leaning. So she always voted Republican, but like a lot of people like used to vote that old dog Democrat. And now they vote Republican because the Democrats have moved so far left.
Yeah. Well, it is. And there is some semblance of normalcy in, I'm going to say, and I say some, it's a qualified some, even in Massachusetts, right? There is this underlying group of people that keeps the Mike Connollys and the crazy progressives and Jamie Eldridge and all these really far left loons from kind of taking hold and changing things too much in the state, and because they're like, no, we're not defunding the police, or no, we're not going to raise taxes through the roof and tax the rich so everybody leaves Massachusetts. If you're super rich, you could like living in Massachusetts, but if they make it really uncomfortable, like California is actually a question if you're a rich person and you want to leave there because the weather's really good. Like the weather's only good here like 5 months out of the year. Like everything else is you make it that uncomfortable for rich people, they're gone. They will leave.
Well, it's like New York, right? New York is losing population to Florida because all of the Republicans are moving to Florida.
They're going to have a big budgetary problems in there. When people
Yeah. That's the reason why they're so mad about salt.
Right. No, it's true. But anyway, I guess good for Ayanna for making that money. By the way, let me just say this. It's not even that we're calling her out for collecting the rent. It's the hypocrisy of it. It's the hypocrisy of advocating for rental cancellation while being a rental owner, a property owner. Like one or the other. Be one or the other. Sell your property, don't collect rent, and then you can look for the policy that cancels rent. But also, you don't need to cancel rent. We covered that on the last episode.
Right.
Finally, Caitlin, all these liberal enclaves that we have in Massachusetts are implementing their own mask mandates across the board. So Boston Mayor Kim Janey, this is August 22nd, 2 days ago, she announced that on August 20th, she announced that effective August 27th, all public places, you'll need to wear a mask unless basically eating or drinking. Now, no capacity limits or this or that. This is the kind of crap that...
So it's just the mask, not the capacity?
From what I understand. But also, it's taking effect a week after it was announced, Caitlin, because we all know that viruses pay attention to the days of the week. And this is all theater. This is all, what are we doing, people? If you're normal and sane, you have to start speaking up. And you also, this is important, you have to not wear your mask. Do not wear your mask at a restaurant, at a bar, at a store, or anything like that. Do not obey. Do not obey. Ignore them. Walk right by them. If the poor person working there is going to be... No, don't do it, I'm telling, because I didn't do it yesterday. You know, the limousine liberal town I had dinner in last night, local ordinance had to pop it up. If they need to call the cops, let them call the cops. Let them arrest you.
Yeah, I went to Wellesley yesterday, all the way down there, from where I live, and I walked into CVS, and I was probably within the minority not wearing a mask walking in.
Yep. People.
Thing is like, I wasn't in anybody's face breathing on them. I don't have COVID. Like, this is, I don't know. I think that Americans are unwell, like, on this.
This is a real thing, because honestly, well, a couple things. We've covered this so many times, but we have to keep saying it, unfortunately, because this is
they're bullying Charlie Baker to this. Like,
let me say this publicly, Governor. If you can cut this clip, or they say, you know, we're at minute 35, 36. I'm very disappointed in this, because for 2 weeks you held the line and be like, we're not doing mask mandates in school. There's no science to back it up. Nothing changed in that aspect. And all of a sudden you announce this mask policy for those who 80, 90% are unvaccinated. And that's political pressure. That's caving to political pressure instead of, you know, following the science and logic and reason.
Being the adult, very important.
And that takes away from credibility. And I say that because I want to support the governor. But I think when you're friends, you're not your true friends if they just nod and say, "Oh yeah, good job," or "I understand." Like, you got to hold the line. You have a lot of political capital. You can spend it on doing the right thing. I don't think kids should be wearing masks in schools. I think it does way more harm than good. The neurotic people out there. This is 6-7 months ago. They could feign this was about Trump. And being showing that, you know, giving a middle finger to Trump supporters. This isn't about that anymore. This is their own neuroses. They are going to keep doing this. And Noah Rothman over at Commentary Magazine said it brilliantly on his podcast last week on the Commentary podcast. They like doing this. They like telling you what to do. They like pretending that what they're doing has some effect so that they can feel like they're doing something and then they have control over an uncontrollable situation. This is sick thinking. This is sick thinking. And you have to, if you agree with this, even if you could be a communist out there, and if you agree with me on this, you have to actually get in their face and tell them no. And tell them that this is wrong, and disobey them, and understand that they belong nowhere near the levers of power. It has to start now. If you're vaccinated, if you're normal, if you're healthy, don't wear a mask. Don't. They don't do shit. It's time to stop the nonsense, because these people will never end. We will be wearing masks forever.
Like, the thing is like, we're vaccinated. We were told that we wouldn't have to wear masks if we're vaccinated. So why are we going back to masks now that the state has a high percentage of vaccinations? I don't understand this point. And then we're supposed to just expect to be okay with that. Like, be clear about the decision making here.
It's about their feelings. They're weak, scared people. And they're pretending like that the vaccines don't work, and they're pretending like they're not vaccinated at all. There's any type when you peel away just at one layer of how these people think, any argument they have for masks falls completely away. But it's not about that. They're not following the science. This is about bullying and power and control over you. And they're doing it because they can and because they like it. And you have to say no. And I walked into the restaurant. I saw the sign. I didn't even think about putting on a mask. And if anybody's gonna get in my face about it, I'm gonna for any blue-haired liberal or anything like that, I'm gonna just say, look, I got vaccinated. Science is real, you goddamn Trump supporter. And I'm gonna like flipping on him. I'm just gonna call him every silly name I can think of. But you have to stop. This has to stop now. The adults have to start speaking up and telling the people that are neurotic and dumb and don't want to follow the science to shut up and sit down. And we're not doing what they want. If they can stay home and curl up in their bed and be afraid of the world. Enough.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. That's in my rant. Sorry. I just get fired up about it. Anyway. This ends another fabulous episode of the RINO Podcast. Patreon.com/RINOPod. Join for only $1 a month. Kaylin, is there anything else as we bid adieu?
No, I think we covered it all this week.
Yeah. Pray for our country.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And thank you again to the Marines that are at the Kabul airport that are getting people out, keeping people as safe as you can control. And we thank you so much for your service.
Amen. For sure. All right. Be safe out there. And we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.